And so the next individual I want to bring some attention to is a guy named Steve Schaick. He will have 1 star on his arm, but in days he's about to get 2. And for those of you who are not in the military, when I first got introduced to them, I didn't understand what a big deal a star was. Because in my world, if you don't get at least 9 or 10 stars, it's sort of like not worth that much. And I remember the first time we went and trained newly promoted 1 stars, and I was like, what's the big deal here? It's just 1. Right? You got like 9 more to go before you become awesome in my world. 2 is a huge deal. And most people don't go beyond 4. And I think I heard in the entire military of 2.2 million people, there's only 20-something 4 stars. 2 is the equivalent of a CEO of a business. And Steve just got promoted, or is about to get promoted in days, to be the head of the chaplain corps for the Air Force. Now, my mother's a pastor of a church, so when I heard chaplain corps, I just thought they run the Sunday service, which can be one of the things they do. But as we learn more about Steve, his world, and their work, they are the coaches of the Air Force. They advise, they guide, not only spiritually, but they are the ones you go to when you don't know what to do and how to work through difficult things. And Steve is one that, as you've gotten to know him, have just been amazing. He's the individual who will do the work to help make the Air Force better, and I believe he'll bring it to the other services and probably many others out there. So I want to bring up Steve and have him share some of the great work they're doing.
This is absolutely awesome. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Megan. These 2 right here have changed my life, and they have introduced me to possibilities, the notion of vulnerability and growth, and how that is something that every one of us, our souls, just long for. And I suspect that's why you next jumpers came here, and I suspect that's why you old guys in the front row are still here. You know, there's something about the vulnerability that happens in this kind of environment that is good and just so very nurturing to us and to all of us. So Chaplain Corps, so we do 2 things, right? We do spiritual care and we advise leaders, and that would seem a pretty benign, kind of set of job descriptors. But so the spiritual care thing gets pretty complicated, as you might imagine. We've got over 200 endorsements right now, so over 200 flavors of chaplains wandering the military these days, and there's more that want to get in every day. We've got leaders who, some of whom are men and women of faith, and some of whom are not, and we are called to come up alongside them to win their trust and win their confidence and advise them in their leadership roles. But what is happening kind of in between all that is today on the 3rd of August, there's probably going to be about 10,000 occurrences where one of our chaplains or religious affairs airmen is going to come up aside someone who's having a really bad day and has looked them in the eye and said, hey, tell me what's going on here. And so about 10,000 times today, one of our chaplains, one of our religious affairs airmen are going to do just that. Just last week, we had one of our religious affairs airmen actually step in the middle of a potential murder-suicide. And no kidding, the gun was loaded, and the cops were on the way. They weren't there yet, but some bad juju was about to go down. There's a wife, a spouse, and several kids in the room, and one of our religious affairs airmen stepped in the middle of that, and by the virtue of his training, was able to calm the situation and avert an extraordinary tragedy. 3 times today, on average, 3 times today, one of our chaplains or religious affairs airmen will sit knee to knee with a person who really is seriously considering ending their life, and they've got the means, they've got the plan, they've got it all figured out. 3 times today, one of our chaplains or religious affairs airmen is going to sit knee to knee with someone who is thinking about doing that. Because if you haven't figured it out, being in the military can be pretty tough. lots of moves, lots of deployments and requirements and things that really can eat away at you. So my question is how do we care for the caregiver? How do we take care of the people who are providing these kinds of, and you know, so we all kind of are perceived as supermen and women. We just kind of keep giving and showing up and saving the day and then and you know, sending people back to work. But the fact is this drain happens, and there's not been, in my estimation, anywhere near the kind of developmental, kind of purposeful development going on in the lives of our chaplains and religious affairs airmen, and that's where Next Jump comes in. And you two, Charlie and Megan and this organization, many of you have contributed probably the equivalent of millions of dollars even to our chaplain corps already in helping us deliberately develop the kind of people that we, quite frankly, need to be to get our airmen ready to fly and fight and win America's wars. And so as I get off stage, again, let me just say thank you. You all are making a difference, not just the United States Air Force, but on behalf of the national defense of our nation, because you know, incomplete people cannot effectively fight and win wars, and you are helping to turn the corner on that, and so I salute you and thank you for doing exactly that. Thank you.